Apparently we are live. Isn't that crazy? This is the bandsaw. So I'm thinking to make some stuff today. I'm thinking I would resaw this. It's not very thick. I was just thinking I'd resaw this into some thinner material, cut it pretty much in half on the bandsaw. And I'm going to need something to push it through here so I don't injure myself. And I'm going to get some eye protection, some ear protection. I'll hook up my shop vac. And here we go. And here we don't go, because bandsaws work better after you plug them in. Well, sometimes bandsaws work better after you plug them in, and sometimes they start falling apart again. Disappointing. So a similar problem like this before. Didn't even get all the way through my one cut. Frustrating. So you kind of see the problem over here. So here's the motor down here, and the pulley goes right there. This is the drive shaft for the wheels inside the bandsaw, and this is the pulley that's supposed to be on there, but it came flying off as I was making this cut over here. And then here's the belt that came off. So I've got a little key, goes in here, and then there should be, yeah, there is still a little Allen key. I wonder if I just didn't tighten that down enough, because yeah, it's not supposed to come off like that. See if I can loosen this key a little bit. Just loosen this screw. All right, all right, I already unplugged this. I'm gonna scoot this back over here so I've got a little bit more light. Hopefully that's better viewing for all of you in the audience tonight. Hey, Lawrence, West does it. Yeah, yeah. Lotto did it this time, huh? Really messed this thing up, but all right. So let me see if I can turn this by hand a little bit so you can get a better view of what's going on. So there's this groove right in there, and then this key that fits in that groove. And I think the key is supposed to be about about an eighth of an inch, something like that. And then it also has that groove right there, right? So when I first got this, it was missing the key. And so I had to go and find one. And I did find one, obviously. It was actually not too hard to find. It wasn't that expensive. Got it at either Lowe's or Home Depot. I don't remember which. But let's see. We can kind of see the outline of the screw tightening down on it. So then should fit in right there. Okay. I just give it a few little love taps here. All right. So, and then I want it to be aligned with the pulley down below that connects to the motor. Let me just see. All right. So that pulley is further out. So I think I should tap this guy in a little bit too. But before I do that, I'm going to loosen him up a little bit. Ah. He's got a similar setup. Such that, let me try and get you in close there. He's got a little groove there. It also has a key that's, you know, about an eighth of an inch or so. And let's see. Okay. All right. Hey, Honey's Handmade, good to see you. Lawrence and This does it. Thanks everyone for being here. I was not anticipating having to work on this part of the bandsaw. I was hoping to just work up here with the blade and the table. But I'm just gonna try to tap that pulley back a little bit. All right, let's see if that's more in line now with if I just hold this. Gotta hold it straight down. That's pretty close. So I am now going to tighten this one down. All right. And maybe I should have worked to get the belt on before I started tightening these into position, but there we go. Just about got it. There we go. All right. So, all right. Yeah. Tighten them. Oh, tighten instead of loosen. Be good. And then I'll do it this way to try and get more torque and really get them on there. Okay. Let's see how well that does. Hey, Bulldozer. Thanks for joining us today. Let's see. Wes does it is relaxing and watching. Going Magic Live Entertainment. Yeah, definitely not what I was anticipating today. I was like, maybe I'll throw a box together. Made one last night just on just recording it with this other camera, and I thought I'd just do a similar deal here. So I'm gonna pull this guy off of the blade so that when I start it back up, it doesn't get completely destroyed. And I'm going to plug this guy back in and just observe. Make sure that it's working how it's supposed to before I start feeding wood through the blade again. Let's see what we got. What I see, tension builds. Yeah, I guess I should have let. The tension build up a little bit there, right, before just throwing the switch. Is that a Tesla? Not quite. Not quite. This is to answer your question, Wes. This is a Craftsman. It's a Sears Craftsman 12-inch bandsaw. It's not particularly new. So there's this nameplate down there that you can kind of see on the nameplate. I don't know how well you can make out what's written there, but the model is the 113. Yeah, 113-24350. And this date code means that it was manufactured in 1978 on the 293rd day of the year. So it's, like I said, not particularly new, but yeah, I guess I don't know that Tesla joke. Sorry. And all right, let's see if we can actually complete the cut now. Let's see here. Got a couple cameras that I'm trying to use, so I'm trying to position both. And hey, that seems to still be recording. I don't know if it's got anything good, but let's see. That will be able to go through without running into the camera, I think, which may be a good thing. All right, so I'm going to turn on the vacuum, then I'm going to reposition this guy, and then I'm going to turn on the bandsaw again. All right, so not a terrible cut there. I didn't get it quite in half. I was shooting for half, but probably tell this guy's a little bit thicker than that guy. But it's not the end of the world. So I'm gonna slide this over. And unplug the bandsaw again. Take our clamps. Disconnect our vacuum. And move our bandsaw over in front of the lathe. All right, so now, should I try using the planer or just sand these guys? And I think I'm just going to sand them because just not that worried about the planer, and there's not a lot of material to remove here, so I don't really want to mess around with removing too much with the planer. So my clamps and mallet back here. Put the Allen key back on the little, I like to just store it here on a little magnetic tray that I got from Harbor Freight for like $1. That way I can always find the Allen wrenches or Allen keys or whatever they're supposed to be called that go to the bandsaw. And a little bit of a sliver there. Be careful when working with wood. Sometimes you can get slivers. All right, noise cancellation. Love how old Craftsmans are built. Yep, almost as old as me. Yep, same here, man. Same here. Pull Loctite on that set screw. Yeah, I tried to get it pretty tight. Got quiet when you started it. Joke about Tesla's being. Oh, yeah, I've got the noise cancellation on these microphones, so they'll right after the machines start up, then the noise cancellation starts to kick in. I understand what you're saying now. Push stick. Yeah, little small push stick. Clean. Yeah, pretty clean cut. Yeah, and that was pretty sad. I mean, regardless of what you think about what Charlie had to say, that's definitely not the way to deal with him. There are a lot of people that there are a lot of people that disagree with him. There are a lot of people that agree with him. Either way, violence is not the answer, people. That's not going to solve any problems in our society. So just sickening that people do these kind of stupid things. And let's see. Okay, Bill, those you got the same bandsaw. Sweet. Okay. All right. So I think I am just going to try to sand. And let's see. I've got a 180 grit on there right now. I think I'll start with an 80. Make my way to make my way up the grits. No. All right. So just have my sandpaper stored in a little holder that I made up there. Pretty simple. And then it just fits on the French cleat wall. So they're all labeled and everything, so it's easy for me to grab a fresh sheet. So I'll plug my sander in and connect it to the dust collection of the shop vac. And all right, I'm gonna put my eye protection back on. I'm not particularly worried about any damage to my eyes when I'm sanding, but you never know. Probably better just to avoid whatever dust might settle. But yeah, Aiden, I wasn't worried about any fights in front of the Capitol. Just like I was thinking my sander must be set really high because it's really pushing things around, but it was only set to 4 out of 5, 4 out of 6. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit, see if that helps me to control the workpiece a little bit better here. It's wild how much it was gripping, but that might just be part of the new 80 grit sandpaper just really grabbing it. Oh, yeah, Wes. Sometimes it is nice to get news from the garage, you know. You want to use liberal wood? Yeah, I try not to be too biased in my wood selection. So sorry if that offends anybody. Yeah, so that was 120. I'm going to go up to 180. I think if I can find, see if I've got another, okay, it's a partially used 180. All right, I think that's smooth enough for my purposes. Of course, now I've kind of beat up the bottom side a bit, so that's all scratchy now. I don't know how, if you can tell how much it's kind of scratched up since it's been sliding around and getting kind of scraped up because my workbench is not the, I actually was just sanding the workbench a little bit and it's not the greatest. So I think I'm going to not worry about sanding too much. Yeah, same thing on this guy. I think I'm going to just try to sand that side a little bit more because this, I think, will be the exterior of my box. So I'll just plan to sand that a little bit differently afterwards. All right, let me see what wood is that? Oh, it's a good question. It is not oak flooring, actually, Bulldozer. The oak flooring is kind of stacked up in the corner here. I just made, well, let's see, should I show you what I made with the oak flooring? I don't know if I should. I started it on a live the other night, but I'm not sure that I should share it with you because I was thinking to have a big reveal on a video that I edit here in the hopefully not too distant future. I haven't really been doing a lot of video editing lately because I've just been doing lives. They're so much easier. You know, don't require any any editing, don't require any you know, difficult choices or, you know, the time and effort. So of course I should. I don't know. Yeah, so that's the oak. So what I made with the oak the other night, I glued up some panels, and then you can kind of see this is the side that had the nail holes in it, and this is the top side. What do you guys think? So that's pretty much the only thing I've made out of the oak board so far. And this is actually from some stock that I pulled out of the fire pit wood stack a while back. So not all of this was from the same stack, but most of it. So this stuff is a different kind of wood. It's just some pine or something from a shipping container that I salvaged. But yeah, this is some cedar actually that was in the fire pit, or not the fire pit, but the stack of wood for the fire pit. So I was looking around in there and I thought, hey, you know what? Some of this might be worth something. So I made a few things out of it. Talked about this box before that I made. Really poorly done box joints. This is the first box joint box that I did. You can see how kind of rough it is. And then it looks even worse because I coated it with wax and not realizing that the wax was going to get into those divots and just really harden up and turn white and highlight all of the nasty parts of it. So anyway, that's one of the first boxes, if not the first box that I made. Actually, no, it wasn't the first box. I think I made that guy first. So the first box that I made in the shop here was this guy. I'm currently using him to store pencils and pens and markers. But yeah, and I just got a little magnet on there for my sharpener. So you can see I was not particularly precise with the joints on this guy. He's not that great. And then not only was I not precise, but then the front face, you know, when I glued the French cleat holder on the back here, I picked basically the worst possible face for the front. I should have picked either this side or that side because it doesn't have the nasty joint look there. But yeah, picked basically the worst I could. So that was the first box I made in the shop here. Different style. Used used rabbit joinery on it. You can kind of see from the edges here. And then just tried doing rabbits on the table saw, and was not very precise, and various other issues. So not the greatest. But you learn from every project, So I'm doing better now because of having made that. Sorry, having made that poorly. So let's see. Okay, all right. Wes, you're more impressed with the bandsaw now? What? You're more impressed because it cut through the cedar? Is that what you're saying? Or because you thought it was the oak? Maybe that makes more sense. I'm going to take off my ear and eye protection here for a moment as I read through things. See, nice find, Bill. Oops, I thought it, yeah, it makes sense. Jose, thanks for being here, Jose. Hey, shoot, you're on your main for now. Sweet. And yeah, everybody check out Shoop's wood shop. He's got some cool stuff going on there. He's been doing a lot with the lathe lately. And we all start somewhere. Yep. Gained 7 subscribers on that live. Sweet. Thought it was the oak. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, it was just the cedar. So, and that that bandsaw, when I first was doing resawing or kind of milling up some cherry wood a while back. So the cherry wood is hiding out over here. So I still need to get to working that. Working on, it's on that shelf back there. It really was struggling with with the cherry wood. And what I eventually realized was that my belt was way too loose. So I don't remember what I did to fix that. How did I fix the loose belt? I tensioned it somehow. I don't remember. Oh well, I think it's in a video. If anyone's looking to tin up their Craftsman 12-inch bandsaw, just check out my prior videos. It's probably in there, even though I don't remember how I got more tension on it. But getting more tension on it has helped quite a bit. It was just slipping all the time, and so I also switched out the tires on the wheels. So they're they are the new what is it, polyethylene? No, poly something instead of the old rubber tires, and so those work a lot better. They don't slip nearly as much. But I think I might have just gotten a new belt, maybe. I don't remember. Oh, and I remember now. So how I tensioned it. How I tensioned it is by moving the motor, right? So the motor mounts to this back plate, and the back plate has bolts connecting the plate to the motor. And so I think I just shifted it down from like the middle set of up here to down on this, and just gave it a little bit more tension and friction so that it worked a lot better. Jacob, I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to get at there. I think we might need to have some moderation there. So let's all be respectful, please. Let's see, 325 subs, sweet, shoot. You want a video on the making of the fence for the bandsaw? Is that what you're saying, Shoop? I think I might have already made a video on that. You know what? I think I might have done a live about the fence. That's been at least a couple months ago, because I remember somebody asking me specifically about the fence. And so there's not really a good way, like the table here has like ribbing on it. And so it's not just flat or anything down there. And let me give you a better look. Disconnect the phone camera here from the, so I don't know how well you can see that, but there's not really anywhere good for gripping onto the underside. And so what I decided to do was make it so that I could grip, put a clamp along the edge and then onto my side piece there. So I just got a piece of plywood that I'd previously used actually for a circle cutting jig for the bandsaw. But then I decided to make the circle cutting jig out of melamine instead of plywood. And that makes the circle work a lot better. It glides a lot better. And so then basically just got this guy butting up to that, and then an angled piece here and there, and then glued on to here. And so that's all just glued together, and then I've got brad nails in there. And then to use it, I'll usually just get it into position and then connect my clamps in a spot that will allow me to actually grab onto it. So I have to be a little bit careful because, there's ribbing here and here that obviously I can't connect my clamp right there. But if I go on either side of that, then I can get a pretty good hold to, be able to get my fence in place. So, and then if you want more info on that fence, like I said, I'm pretty sure I did a live specifically about that a few months back, but I could be wrong. All right, let's see what else we got here in the chat. All right. You saw it, forgot how. Yeah. Hey, Raja, thanks for liking the video. Everyone else is welcome to like the video as well. All right. Hey, baby kisses. Thanks for joining us. The fence for the bandsaw. Yep. And I think you can make it for mine now. Yep. Yeah, it's not too difficult. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? I'm not some wizard in the shop here. So there's solutions for everything, and obviously you don't have to do it the way I did it. My way is obviously the best way, but you can do it in an inferior way, and it'll still work. So, season. All right. So, getting back to a little cedar project here. I'll move my band back out of the way. So think I want to cut these guys up and put this stuff over here for now. I might revisit this for the base or the lid, or I might just use one of these for the base of the lid. Not sure yet how I want to do that. So, I think I'm going to make it so that my box is no wider than one of these guys. And so then I can have it be longer but narrow, something like that. And then I can use this as my lid and base. So this will be the box, or the sides of the box, and then then I'd have a base and a lid from this piece. So let me just calculate out. And all right, so that's right at 16 inches, as if I had planned it. But this is at 12 3/4. So this is 3 1/4. I need another 3 1/4 over here. So that's 6 1/2. From 16 would be 9 1/2. But I'm going to have some waste from losing the kerf of the blade. So if I take that down to 9 1/4, am I thinking enough there? Enough waste? 9 1/2 to 9 1/4 would be, that would just be 1/4 of waste, right? So that would just be 2 blades width. I'm going to need at least 3. So let's see. Go to just 9, which means that this can be 4 1/2. So 1, 2, 3, 4 1/2. All right, and I'm going to make some cuts with those, and then I'll just use these actual cuts to determine the rest of it here. So now I need the table saw. There we go. So I'm going to move the fence as far over as it'll go. And that right there. All right, get my eye and ear protection back on. And let's see. Wish I could hang longer. I'll come back to watch later. Y'all have a great night. Hey, thanks, Wes. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it. There's the best of all the fences I looked at for this bandsaw. Yeah, it could be worse. That's for sure. Thanks for the compliment, though. Right, Wes, that little wooden origami, I suppose. Hey, Chris, my wood is on full display all the time, man. Don't have to ask to showing me the wood for showing you the wood. Some fun teasing you guys. Okay. And okay. Had the same one video as Jacob. All right. What that is. A few minutes ago talking crap. Okay. Oh, has the same. Gotcha. All right. All right. Well, let's get going. All right, the tricky thing here is that I want these to be different sizes, this and this. So I'm adjusting my stop block right now. I would have preferred to leave it for making my other cut like that size, but my other cut is in here. And so that might have not have been the greatest. Because I want to have a continuous grain pattern all the way around. So otherwise I could have just cut this size and this size and had those right next to each other. But then when I do my box, those grains are not going to match up. How much does it matter? Yeah, probably not that much. But, yeah, whatever. All right. So now I just need to trim off. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't have done that because now I've got to trim this guy a little bit. I was all excited to keep it in that position that it'll still come pretty close to matching the grain because I'm just going to take off a little sliver instead of a lot. But anyway. You'd see it's a pretty close grain match, even though I removed some from in between. But if I were to try to do that, see, that doesn't match up, right? And that doesn't match up. So, all right, on to our next phase. For that, I must remove and remove, and lower this guy. And I'm going to adjust him basically over there. And then I'm going to get out my 45 degree throat plate. And this table is not particularly even. You know, it was inexpensive. You know, I got it used, but not that perfect. I'm gonna vacuum it off real quick just so I have a little bit less stuff on there. And so it's not particularly flat. And so I'm kind of relying on my referencing my throat plate to determine my 45 degree here. So I'm going to bring this out almost as far as it'll go. If I bring it out all the way, then it starts to lift up the throat plate a little bit on this side. So you can kind of see it lifting there. It's because it's catching over on this side. So I want it where it's not doing that. So right around there. And then I'm going to use my little digital angle finder, zero it out on the throat plate, and then put it there. And let's see here. This does not want to go. There it goes. Wow. I think I need to adjust that stop. So there's I've explained this in other videos, but so this is the bevel adjustment right here. So the bevel lock. I've got a video about how to fix the bevel lock if yours is broken. But to engage the lock, you pull it down like that. To unlock it, pull it up like that. All right. This raises and lowers the height of the blade. And then you adjust the bevel by shifting this back and forth. Right. So up in this position, it's near 45 degree. Then if I shift this whole mechanism over here, it's down towards 0 or 90 degree basically. Right. And so there's a little stop. All right. So there's this little rubber piece right here. and a little metal piece. I don't know how well you can see right there, but there's a little metal piece right there. And this metal piece is adjusted by this little Allen nut there. So you can bring this metal piece closer or further away based on that. And so I think I've got it adjusted to be a little bit too, won't let me go far enough over. So I'm going to change that. It lets me. Okay, so when I get it in place, I try to gently put the lock in place so that it doesn't, so that it doesn't move my positioning as much. And now I'm going to adjust this guy so he's a little bit closer there. And there's another stop adjustment on this other side for the 90-degree side. All right. Way more involved than I was hoping. Let's see if I've missed anything in the chat here. Let's see. You lay them out, tape them, glue holds them. Yep. Yeah, I am planning to do that. Oh, looks like I'm a little crooked on my placement here. Let me straighten that up, and that should be better. Yeah, so I will be doing that to tape them up and glue them up. But before I tape them up and glue them up, I need to miter the edges, because right now they're all just at 90 degree. So, I mean, I could just do butt joints on them, you know, something like that. Right? And, you know, that's a viable box, a viable joint, but not what I was going for. So my intent is to have them at 90-degree angles. And so I need to cut them at a 45 here. Before I do that, though, I need to make sure that I've got them facing the right directions. So doesn't really matter that they're in order right now, and they're not. I just need to make sure that I've got them the right face up. So the face that I sanded is down, and so now the face that I have not sanded is on top, and that's what I'm going to have the miter. So then I'll just come through, miter those off. And I don't need the blade up nearly so high to do those miters. And then positioning here is kind of critical. Making sure that they're right at the edge of removing material. And okay, I think this one's going to be a little bit too wide for current. That should be good. Let's tighten that guy down. Okay, and then I'm going to loosen this little guy in the back. So this little guy pulls the piece through. I've chewed him up quite a bit on previous cuts. So there's not a lot of him to work with. But I just want to make sure that I'm getting as good a hold on that as I can. And as I feed him through. All right. Hit the like button. Yeah, double tap the screen. All that good stuff. Subscribe if you'd like. Baby kisses going down for the night. Sweet. And all right. Julian, thanks for joining us. All right. I'm going to back. This needs to be a little bit further over. All right, I'm going to try right there and see how close to my edge that takes us. Okay, so you can see how I've got that angle there, but my angle doesn't come all the way to the edge here. Got a little bit of a lip there. You see that lip? So I want that lip gone so that my angle goes all the way to the edge. So I need to bring it in just a little bit more. Try that. So that's a lot better. There's still just a itsy bitsy lip there, but I think it might be worth leaving it as is. I think I am going to leave that just a tiny little bit. I think if I take more off, then I might have kind of a ragged edge here. And my opinion on that is mostly based on what happened with the box I made last night. So here we go. All right, so now we've got the miters on both sides. And so now I'll do the other one. It is this same width. You can see on that one, even though I didn't make it any smaller or any tighter, I still got a little bit of jaggedness there that I was worried about getting if I got it any smaller. So probably good that I didn't make it any smaller before. All right, these ones need to be quite a bit bigger. So I'm going to try it right there. I think this might be a little too wide, but I'd rather start a little too wide. But I'd rather start wide and then be able to get too smaller rather than start too small and then already be too small. Although on this one, it wouldn't be the worst in the world because it just means we've got a little bit smaller box. Hopefully you can see that lift that I'm talking about. I'm going to make it just a touch wider. All right, let's see if that works. That doesn't feel like it made much of a difference. So kind of sneak up on it. I just realized why I didn't feel like it made much of a difference, because I'm going the wrong direction. I need to be getting closer to the blade, not further away. There we go. That went all the way to the edge, and I can tell because I'm getting a little bit of that jaggedness again. So now I'll do the other side and then do the other piece. All right, and that actually also took a little bit of chip off of the bottom here. So that's less than ideal, but whatever. All right, I'm gonna remove my eye and ear protection here for a little bit. Check out our chat. Hey, Robert, thanks for joining us, man. And Jared, thanks for being here. All right. And on this guy, try to figure out how our grain is supposed to go again. There we go. It looks like it matches there. It does not look like a match there, but that is a match there. All right. So let me get some tape. I want to try to be really careful to keep these kind of in place and in relation to each other. Okay. And then see how this has some gaps in it there. That's the issue that I was talking about earlier with the getting a little bit too close to the edge. Hopefully I'll be able to fill that in with glue and it won't be too noticeable. All right. I've done these properly. This should pretty much match up over here. And it mostly does. That's a mostly good sign. And I put the tape over there so that it's ready for when I train it all up. And then I haven't done this in the past, but I'm going to try to protect these joints or around these joints from the glue squeeze out. So that the glue is focusing in on doing its job in the joint and not marring the workpiece everywhere else. I did not do this step on the box I made yesterday, and it shows. All right, all taped up. I think we're ready for some glue. And I'm just going to use Type Bond Original because I don't really intend this to be subject to much water usage. So Original is not water resistant or waterproof. It is water cleanup. Type Bond 2 is supposed to be water resistant. Type Bond 3 is supposed to be waterproof, but not intended for submerging in the water. So I'm going to put a relatively healthy amount of glue in each of these joints. And I don't remember which ones were most in need of the glue to kind of fill in, but I'm hoping that the way I'm brushing this will kind of accentuate the glue in that gap and fill in wherever the cedar box might be in need. Type Bond Original doesn't have a super long open time, but this isn't a particularly involved glue up, so I'm not that worried. What I mean by that is that the glue will start to dry and adhere. Like right now, when I haven't joined the joints together yet, if the glue kind of dries up, it's really not that bad of a deal because I can just apply a little bit more, because this kind of when you're doing miters, it's kind of like an edge grain, and so the wood really soaks up a fair amount of glue, and so putting on another layer is not really the worst thing in the world. All right. So now I have to join it all up, and hopefully it all comes together how it's supposed to. All right. Okay. So far, so good. All right. Close up the glue for now so I don't have too much issue with that drying out later. All right. I'm going to see if I've got the right. Okay. That is just about the right width, but looks like it's. I cut those a little too wide. You know what? I'm going to call it good enough because not much of a difference. So I can make it work anyway. So So now I need to go back to the table saw, but right now I've got the wrong throat plate, the wrong angle. Actually, you know what? I could decide. Do I want to? Oh, you know what? I've already glued up the other part, so I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to stick with. Let me go back to the 90-degree. I was just thinking about maybe I want to miter the top and or bottom, you know, the base and or lid. But then I remembered that I had already glued up the box here, and I didn't miter these edges. So it would be really difficult to miter these edges to connect to a mitered lid or base. So that's kind of off the table now. All right, so I'm just going to raise this guy up. Actually, before I do that, that doesn't sound perfect. I'm going to put my crosscut sled back on. And then I'm going to take it off. So I was mentioning earlier that I don't really trust the flatness of the table saw, but I much more trust the flatness of the MDF that I made this crosscut sled out of. So I'm going to use the crosscut sled to zero out my angle finder, and then move the crosscut sled off, raise up the blade as high as I can get it without messing up my thread plate, Actually, you know what? I don't even need the throw plate on right now because I've already got my reference. So I'm just going to throw it on there, and then I can fine tune to get to 90. There we go. Oh, as I was closing it, I adjusted it just past 90. And then I did it again. There we go. All right, 90 degrees. I could just use a square, a machinist square, instead of the digital angle finder, but I just don't trust my reference surfaces. All right, then I want my crosscut sled again. And I can lower that. Sounds like I need to had a little piece of something there that was preventing me from getting this all the way backed up. So even just a little, it doesn't take much, but I'll use a bigger piece of something. But if I got a little piece of something, that makes it so that I can't square it up against the back fence here. So it was a much smaller piece than that, but I don't know how noticeable it was for you guys watching via camera. But now that I'm about to use my table saw again, I should use my eye and ear protection again. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces this size, one for the base and one for the lid. Okay. All right, so here's my base and my lid. And as we come back over here, Juan, thanks for joining us, man. And CRH Enterprises. Use CA glue, no tape needed. You can be sanding that project in a few minutes. Yeah, I guess I could be doing that. That's a good point. I think CA glue doesn't tend to last as long as wood glue. So I'm less inclined to use it for those purposes, but all right. It's just kind of a quick fit. So this is a little bit longer. It's got a bit of a lip there. And same there. So I'm just gonna shave off a little bit more. All right, let's try that. Yeah, of course, I need my ear and eye protection again here. All right, let's test those out. Make that flush here. Pretty much flush on both sides, right? Still a little bit of a lip there. Presume it'd be the same for the other side here. The other piece. Yep. Need to shave off just a little bit more. Protect my eyes and ears again. And just there we go. Work. All right. I'm going to leave the edges taped up here. For the corners, I mean. But I want to expose the top and bottom. That's not working very well. Right. Okay, that didn't go nearly as well as I'd hoped. Messy, messy, messy. Well, I think I titled the live stream something like making a box or something. So beginning to resemble more the something than a box maybe, but all right. Hey, Gina, thanks for joining us. And Narcisa, Colorado, we're in here, man. All right. See if I can a little bit try a better job on this. All right. And I'll just put something with some weight on it. Like, how about some chisels? There we go. All right, so that's going to take a while to dry. So let's see what, if anything, there is to do in the meantime. Well, I need to have some kind of opener for the lid. So let me see what kind of scrap we've got left over. See, use some of that. I think this is what I used for my push stick on the bandsaw earlier. Use that. One reason why I maybe don't want to use that is because it's got very little grain movement. So if I were to use a chunk of this, then rather than having the grain move with it, you're going across the grain, so it's not as attractive, I would say. This is a little bit better in that regard, but it's also pretty thin. So there's not much to grab onto there, but it might be enough. And it's not like this is going to be a really big, heavy lid that needs to be removed. Got another piece that's pretty similar, really, and almost identical. Let's see what else. Something like that might work. So it's a little bit thicker, not quite as thick as this guy, but he's got grain going in the right direction. The grain here is a little bit harder to distinguish. Grain there is easier to distinguish, but we've got some faults here and down in here for sure. So it's kind of had a crack. So again, I don't know if I mentioned this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. This was firewood I'm repurposing in the pile with all the firewood. So what do you guys think? What should I use for my lid? Or should I use a different kind of wood entirely? I've got a bunch of oak over here that I could use. Got some offcuts of like the oak. I'm making my my little heart-shaped serving tray I showed you guys earlier. I got some offcuts from that I could use for a lid. But then that's going to have a different pattern and look than what the cedar would. And then, yeah, I've got a bunch of other kinds of wood too, but I think I'd rather have more of a, if I was going to go with a different handle for the lid, I think I'd want it to be more of a contrast than the oak is. So, all right. And then, so, yeah, Shoop's still here, sweet. And Hasem, like you might be having some difficulty with your keyboard there. Either that or I'm just really not familiar with that language. My wife is doing pretty well. She is hinged or lift top box, just a lift top. So right now I've just glued the base and lid onto the box. So basically after that dries, I'm just going to cut into it. And then just make it a lift top. So it doesn't have to be very robust lid. I mean, I guess I could do a hinge, but I'd have to think about how to do a hinge. And I've got hinges that I could use, but I don't know that any of them would really be all that appropriate for this particular box. So, what do you think, Robert? What should I use for my lid? We've got this piece that has a lot of imperfections, but is a little bit thicker and has the grain running in the long fashion. A lot of end edge grain. not a lot of edge grain, but more edge grain than this guy, where I've got the grain pattern running on the short side all the way around. But it's a more substantial piece, and so, you know, even if I were just using a little chunk of it, it could be a little bit more substantial handle to grab onto. And then I've got each of these two. They're both pretty similar. This one's got chunk down here. So these ones are both similar to this guy in that they have the, you know, the grain pattern is running a little bit more lengthwise on them. This guy's a little bit beat up in here, so I'd probably want to cut him off. If I were using this guy, probably only use that part, and I might need to clean that up a little bit too, because it looks like I might have gotten some glue on there that, so maybe this is my piece to use. And I've got a little bit of chipping on the edge of that, but I could probably just cut him off and use this guy. So I think you've convinced me to use this one. Good job, guys. Did any of you say anything? You want me to use the cedar. You want me to use the thicker pole. So these two are both thicker. I didn't see when you made your comment. Are you talking about one of these two? And if so, use this one and try to hide the imperfections, or maybe highlight the imperfections. Use this guy, even though he's got the short grain pattern on him. But this would definitely be the thickest pole of any of these. Or one of these thinner guys. Probably I'll discard that one and just take him out of the equation, because he's basically the same as this one, but not as pretty. So the thinner cedar, the thickest but short grain, or the thicker with the long grain but imperfections. Pull that one, that one short grain. Oh, you think you like the short grain one better? Ah, interesting. So, I mean, I guess if I make this the lid, and I guess I could have it go that way. That would work. I was thinking to have it run like that, you know, making it shorter, right? So maybe it's only this long or this long, but, you know, having it go this direction. But maybe it makes a lot more sense to go with that. You all like the short grain, huh? Long ways make it shorter. We make it smaller. So you want it this way, even though the grain is going the opposite direction. And even, I mean, we could make it smaller. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old-fashioned, having the grain run this way on the handle and this way on the lid. It's a little jarring to me. But I do like the idea of making this guy shorter either way, because I've got a lot of darkness over here. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It seems a little bit lighter and more consistent with this over on this end. Do you think it looks okay like that, huh? Hey, Lawrence. All right, well, let me cut this guy up and see what it looks like. I think I want to try to square him off a little bit first. Oh, okay. Kind of a dovetail design. Is that what you mean, Robert? Didn't quite square him off. It's like I need to go a little bit further in. But then I might just be asking a little too much for this to really be squared off when it's such a small piece. That seemed to do pretty well. All right. I'm going to use this guy to hold him in place. Yeah, chipped a little bit there on the corner. So I think I'm going to go a little bit shorter, but have that corner that chipped be the leading edge as it goes into the blade. That's better. I didn't take off quite enough, so I still have that little chipped edge. Looks like it chipped a little bit here on the other end too. So I think I'll probably just end up sanding it and except for the side that goes down, I think I'll just try to do a little chamfer. So would have cut it on the bandsaw. That's not a bad idea. But that means I'd have to plug the bandsaw back in and everything. That'd be so much work. So, all right, let me find a little hand sanding here. So that's at 120. Let's see how well that does. All right. Gonna vacuum that up a bit. All right. I'll go up to 180. All right, so now I have to decide which side is going to be up. I think I like this side. So I'm going to do a little chamfer on each of those edges. Vacuum. Since the hose fell down, reminding me I need to clean up the dust. All right. See how close that is to the center. course, I bumped it. So close. All right. So got this one set to center it there. So now I'll set all right. Hey Nick, thanks for joining us. All right. So this is probably far enough along that I can safely remove the tape. And if not, then hey, great, we get to start over. All right. So before we go any further, I'm going to sand this guy. looks like I'm running pretty low on battery here. Let me see if I can connect to a backup.